Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
This is Believe You Me on the Gas Digital Network.
We do have Darren Till on the line, by the way.
Oh, we do. Darren, what's up, buddy? Can you hear me? Darren?
Hello?
What's going on, mate? How you doing?
What's happening, mate? You okay, yeah?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Hey, listen, thanks for taking the time to speak to us today. You're on with me and Lewis on the Believe You Me podcast, mate. Yeah. So we were just talking about UFC London, mate. Are you going to be on the card or what? What's going on?
Yeah, I think so, mate. They're just trying to find me a opponent now, like, you know, the best possible main event for London. So, you know, I'm definitely 100% on it, mate. It just depends who against.
Yeah, well, there's a total bellend out there that I can't stand by the name of Jorge Masvidal. He's been calling you out on Twitter. Is there any? Is that likely to happen or what?
Well, I didn't see the call out till just like now on Twitter, mate. So I've just retweeted it. So if the UFC want to make that happen, mate, that's as I said, Michael. Whoever it's against doesn't really matter. So if it's against Masvidal, then that's the main event for London.
Well, that's a good fight. And oh, sorry, go ahead, Lewis.
Mike, please go ahead. Don't worry.
No. I was trying to get your attention, mate. Just look at the monitor. Sometimes I'm waving at you for you to go, but you didn't look.
No, I was looking. I was.
Oh, my apologies. Anyway, Darren, yeah, he's a total fucking knobhead, right? I don't like that guy one bit. So if you do fight him, is that going to be at 170? And please smash his face in. But remember when you lost to Woodley, there was a lot of talk of you going up to 185. What happened with all that? Are you going to fight at 185 or stay at 170?
I'm definitely going to fight at 185, but just because I made such a big deal out of the cut myself, you know, because obviously I missed weight in Liverpool, and the cut turned out to be like, you know, surprisingly easy for like, yeah, it was just easy, mate. So you know, I can still say it welterweight for a few more fights, you know. That's what I've got in my head, and then obviously move up to 185. But for now, you know, I can still make the welterweight cut, and so I think I'm going to stay at welterweight.
Yeah, now you say, you know, the idea of moving up to 185, if you did make that move, is there anybody in particular that you think you match up well against?
Stylebender.
Ooh. Well, you know, it's funny. We talked on the show specifically about that being the fight to make. And is that something that you just would want to do? And is something you're throwing out there now, or is it something that you've spoken to the UFC about?
Yeah, I'm always asking Sean, you know, for the biggest and the hardest challenges. You know, obviously, you've seen that in my last fight against, you know, the champion. I just want to fight the best, mate, and I think at middleweight right now, Stylebender's one of the, you know, the best. Not all rounded, but I think striker versus striker, you know, me coming from a striking background and him himself, and I think it'd just be a good matchup. So, you know, that's definitely a fight I want in the future.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I mean, Israel, you know, he talks a good game as well. Of course, he fights well as well. So I think that would be an amazing fight. And obviously the build-up to it would be a lot of fun. But so just going back to the Woodley fight for a second, myself in my career, whenever I lost a fight, that's when you learn the most. Is there anything you can take away from that fight that maybe you're going to change in preparation going forward?
Yeah, there's two things. One is, I've always been so calm fighting, and for that fight I was so overly confident and you know, just in my head knew that I was going to be the champion. That just beforehand I just didn't really psych myself up enough. I was in the changing rooms just not really wanting to warm up at anything with my coach, and I think I went into the fight more calm than usual, and Woodley came in, you know, full of nerves, as he said in the post-fight press conference. He was scared, he was nervous. So I think that, you know, next, obviously going forward now, I'm going to warm myself up a lot better, have a bit more of aggression walking out to the octagon. And the second thing is, I let like a lot of people get into my head before that fight because of my weight cut, and I focused more on the weight cut, that being my fight, than actually focusing on the champion and him being the real fight. And I think all my attention was drawn to making weight. And then when I finally made weight, it was like, oh yeah, I'm fighting, you know, one of the best fighters ever in welterweight. So, you know, I'm never going to let that happen again. I think that's two mistakes I made in that fight.
Yeah, it's weird because a lot of the time when you're trying to make the weight class, the whole camp becomes about making weight. And then you kind of forget the fucking main reason you're doing that is you can fight your opponent. I've fallen foul to myself, to that myself, Darren. So, I fully understand what you're saying. And also the first thing that you said about, trying to find the right level and balance of emotions. I mean, I've been there. Sometimes I've gone out there too hyped up and that nearly cost me a fight. And then when I fought Matt Hamill, I was like, right, calm down. Don't be hyped up. I walked out. I was waving at my mom, blowing a kiss to my bird and all that. And then fucking the guy runs out and he's nearly smashing my fucking head in. So it is a very, very difficult thing to just find that right balance. And I don't think a lot of people appreciate that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, mate.
Yeah. Now, I remember, going into the last fight, you sort of received some flack from the press because a statement you had made was sort of, I guess, taken out of context. What they had taken from it, I guess you were saying you were putting your UFC legacy ahead of your family. Which, by the way, congratulations on the birth of your second daughter.
Oh, thank you, mate. Thanks, mate.
Incredible. But number one, talk to us a little bit about that because I know that was something that was sort of taken out of context, and sort of talk to me about where you look at now, following that loss. How do you look at your UFC legacy and sort of how do you see this loss affecting that?
Well, the comments, obviously everything the media always takes things out of context. That's what they're there for, to do that type of stuff. And it's just like basically like the way I mean it is right now, fighting has to be the most important thing in my life for their futures, for obviously my girlfriend and my kids' futures. And right now, the attention can't be on them that much until I retire, and then I can sit back, look back on a great career of fighting, and have a nice bank account. Don't have to worry about bills and shit like that. But if I divide my attention up now between friends, family, and missing training sessions because I've got to run my daughter somewhere, that'll play a big part in my career as a fighter, and I can't let it do that. So that's what I basically meant, was like the only thing that I really care about now is training hard and being one of the greatest ever, because that'll show in the future. You know what I mean?
100% down. In fact, I said that at the time because I saw a lot of headlines, people trying to talk shit about you. I was like, no, people don't understand unless you've been a fighter. There can't be anything else. When you're trying to get ready for a fight, it's got to be all or nothing. So I totally understood what you meant there, mate. So anyway, going back to the fight. So hopefully it's Masvidal and maybe 185. Yeah. In a perfect world, how do you see this year playing out for you?
I just want to fight, mate. I want to fight maybe 3 times and see what happens with because I'm still number 2, and Usman and Woodley are fighting now, and after this fight I don't see Woodley fighting straight away again, even though Dana's always pushing him to fight. I see him taking a bit of time off, and to be honest, I see him beating Usman. I think in that fight, I just think Woodley's going to beat Usman. So we'll see. If I beat Masvidal on London, I fight him. And then if Colby finds some balls, fight him maybe, and we see what happens. I'm not eager to straight away fight and then get a rematch with the champion. I just want to, as I say, mate, I just want to beat everyone. That's what I want to do. I want to beat everyone, so there's no questions left that I didn't miss anyone out.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Woodley, how do you see him and the Usman fight going down?
I think it could either be a good fight or a boring fight. I just don't see where Usman's a good fighter. I just don't see where he beats Woodley, because I just don't think he can take Woodley down, and I don't think he's got the power standing up to match Woodley. I think Woodley's got more power than Usman. I felt one of Woodley's hardest shots, and trust me, mate, he can bang. So I just don't see where Usman wins that fight. Maybe on a better cardio or something. But Woodley's been the 5 rounds, so he knows what it takes. So I just think that Woodley's going to take that fight, mate.
And
what do you think? Oh, sorry, Lewis, go ahead.
Sorry, Mike. What about? I mean, with the Woodley fight, do you take something away from that fight? Because there were a lot of rumors about the Colby Covington fight with you, and that would be a fight, Masvidal or Covington. Obviously, we talk shit about both those guys on this show, so either pick your poison. We would love to see you fight and win against either one of those guys. I think the fans are both, either one of those fights they'd be happy with as well. But did you take anything away from that Woodley fight that you could use against Colby? Being that wrestling is his base.
Not really, to be honest, because Woodley couldn't take me down. I'm not really worried about wrestling because Woodley's the strongest in the first round, and to be honest, it felt like I was just pushing him off me. He couldn't he couldn't take me down. That's everyone's talking about wrestling. There's in all my UFC fights, no one's been able to take me down yet. So, unless Colby can do that, which I don't think he can. People talk about my ground game and that, and there's a lot of things I do need to work on. But, if you're talking about wrestling, you can get me down, but you'll have to hold me there as well, and I can get back to my feet, So that really is no. I train every day wrestling because I know it's the most important part in MMA. And ever since I went off to Brazil and whatever, that's all I did every day was train me get-ups and train me wrestling defence. And I know I'm a really good wrestler, so that's not really worrying. The Woodley fight, what I took from that was, just as I told Mike about them few mistakes. But with regards to wrestling, I'm going to be totally honest. I'm not too worried about Colby, Usman, or Woodley's wrestling. I'm not worried about it in the slightest because I know I do the right things to train for them guys.
I think we can all agree, though, that wrestlers are a fucking pain in the ass. Pissed me off my entire career. Just stand and fight, please. But just talking about Colby Covington for a minute. What do you think of this whole thing? Obviously, he's bitching because he never got the title shot. What do you make of it all?
I think aside from the fact that Colby's a dickhead, I think, he did deserve the shot because he did beat a lot of guys to get there, and obviously he did win the interim belt. And he was only stripped of that when I fought Woodley. I'll be honest, I think he's scared to fight Woodley. I don't think he wants to fight. I think he's making out he wants to fight, but I don't think he wants to fight, or I think he wants to fight on his terms. Now, that being said, mate, it's the UFC you're talking about. There's no terms negotiable. If they want you to fight, you have to fight unless you can come up with a good injury or excuse. And it is how it is, mate. It's the same thing with the Dana thing. Like, he's talking shit about Dana. Listen, if I said it the other day, if I had a problem with Dana, I've got his number. I'd just message him and say, "Have you got a fucking problem with me or something?" I wouldn't say it out on. I just think it's bad. I just think it looks. I think it looks stupid. I just think it looks like you're bitching and it looks stupid, and I just don't come from that background, mate. So, he's doing what he's doing, mate. He'd probably end up getting kicked out the UFC, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Colby is trying to create, it's sort of like a deliberate move to create this brand as like being the bad boy, and I don't give a fuck about, Dana or the UFC.
Yeah, but if you want to create a brand now, you're bad boy, don't let people throw boomerangs at you in Australia, because if someone's done that to me, mate, I'd rip the fucking face off. So he's not really that much of a bad boy, is he?
Thank you, fucking Darren. That's exactly what I said. Thank you. Because he goes around making out he's this fucking hard man, and then he gets a boomerang thrown at him and goes straight to the business. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Yeah, what an absolute fucking... I've got no words. I've got no words for it. You can't play both sides of the coin. You can't be a fucking badass hard man and then run off to the cops soon as fucking, it bites you in the ass. Yeah. All right. Well, listen, mate. We appreciate you joining us. Go on, Lewis. You got your hand up there.
Well, I was gonna say, as it relates, to you, is that something that you're really conscious of? Do you worry about your brand, the way you're being perceived, the way fans are kind of taking you in?
No, mate, I'm just me. If you talk about like brand and following and social media and that, it's quite strong. I got a guy who works for me, and he's got like, a gorilla t-shirt thing that's set up, and it's just, people just love the way I am, because I'm real and I'm honest, mate, and I say what comes off my mind. There's no way script there, and sometimes I do say controversial things, but look back through history, every great fighter's always been a controversial fighter. So I just think in the long run, if you yourself and you speak your mind openly and honestly. I think people really know who is the real people and who are like faking it, and people can see that Colby's just faking it. If you go back on Colby when he first started in the UFC, he was just like a nice guy, and then all of a sudden he's turned into, as you say, a bad boy. I'm just me from the start till the finish, and people will come and people will try and tell you to do it this way or that way, and from me, they just get told to fuck off. So I just think, just be yourself, and it's all good, mate.
Couldn't agree more, mate. 100%. Well, listen, thanks for joining us, Darren. Really appreciate it, mate. I know you're a busy man. So, look after yourself, and hopefully see you in London, mate.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Appreciate it. See you later.
Good luck on everything, brother.
All the best, pal.
Thanks, mate. Bye-bye.
Take care. Well, there he is, Darren Till, the gorilla. Very cool. That was nice of him to take time out of his day there, because we just messaged him, Jesus Christ, right before we went live on air.